Hello, this is RICKY, the Android guy. Hey guys, today I'm comparing two tablets side by side, and that is the Surface Pro and the Note 10.1. We will always rate these on, of course, category levels. So we're trying to see for which users, which one is the best, and for what purposes. So they're going to be going head to head, and first thing we go over, of course, is always look and feel. So first of all, look and feel is definitely going to be a big difference between these two. The Surface Pro is a full functioning PC, and the Note 10.1 is pretty much the top of the line Android tablet out on the market. So first of all, obviously we'll have a bit of a weight difference and size difference. So if we put them side by side, you can see that the Note 10.1 is almost about half the size comparing to the Surface Pro here. And definitely almost double the weight, it feels like, at least. Just comparing both of them, the Surface is a lot heavier, and it's a little bit of a bigger screen, of course, too, so you have to keep that into account. But it's definitely noticeable that it is a heavier device, as where the Note fits very easily in the hands, curve appeal, of course, as well as with the Surface, the main thing about it is that it does have a kickstand, which is obviously really nice. The feel of the magnesium that they put on here is nice, but just the weight, you cannot get over the weight. And plus, it's not really meant to hold, really, whereas the Note 10.1 is meant to hold for a while and a long period of time. The Surface, it's meant to mainly put it down and rest it because of its kickstand. It is built in, which of course is really nice and we do like. Alright, so on the Note lock screen, you of course can go into multiple apps that you want and highlight, and then, or just unlock the device. For the Surface, for the lock screen, we have a picture icon which you can customize. You have your emails or messages or anything that would be notification, your Wi-Fi, as well as your battery, and then you swipe up to unlock, and you can either do a picture pattern or your email address, which I have not changed. So let me do that real quick. And then we log into both screens. Now, in terms of interface, these two devices are a lot different. With the Surface Pro, you have Windows 8 full functioning PC, and of course over here you have stock Android, or not stock Android, TouchWiz Android on this device, Android 4.1.2 or 0.2. On here you have full Windows 8, so you have live tiles versus widgets, which I don't care what anyone says, live tiles do not compare to widgets. They are better than icons, but this isn't iOS. Widgets are just more useful. You get a lot more out of them. You can see a lot more things that you have to get done, whereas on live tiles you get a little preview, but not the whole thing. For example, I always bring this up, the email widgets. On here I can see about 5 or 6 emails. On here I can see 1 preview and how many I have to open. That's about it. Not to mention that from here I can just create a new email very easily, whereas this one I have to go into it first and then create a new email. So those are some examples of just how these devices stack up comparing to each other. So yeah. So in other terms, so let's go through the regular things to compare. So let's go into web browsing. So in terms of web browsing, we will be using the Chrome browser for here, and we will be using the Internet Explorer browser for here, the regular one, not the desktop version. So if we see how this website looks, one thing, of course, we do have a full 1080p screen on the Surface Pro, whereas on the Note 10.1 we have a 1280 by 800 screen. So you can see that's why this is a bit more zoomed out in comparison, just because you really do get the full experience. Whereas this one, it does recognize it's a tablet, so it's a bit more zoomed in as well. So in terms of moving up and down, both devices do a really good job at that. In terms of pinch to zoom, again, both devices really do a nice job of it. Double tap. There we go. So I would say that the Surface is just a bit quicker on it. But not only that, although on both devices you can get Adobe Flash, the big difference will be, of course, from Surface you can actually get Silverlight, which just clinches it for all web browsing plugins. Whereas although you can get Adobe Flash on here, you cannot get Silverlight. So in terms of full web browsing, we have to give it to the Surface Pro just for that alone. So that will go to the Surface Pro for web browsing. In terms of music, this is pretty easy, but let's go through it just so you guys can see, and I'm not making it up or anything like that. Alright. Now, both devices have really nice music interfaces. I do love the interface for the Surface Pro though, look-wise, a lot more. It's just a really nice clean interface, and I just like the way that it demonstrates it. So I will have to say that.
They may talk a lot of it, but they can't do a lot of it. Rico told me turn the lights on, so I grabbed the Audemars, threw the ice on. I'm big dog, got a pissed off. A lot of rappers out, but I ain't none here wrong. Hey, look at T.I., call it in the T.I. Bunch of bad raw, put them looking like a...
Okay.
So I grabbed the Audemars, threw the ice on. I'm big dog, got a pissed off. A lot of niggas rapping, I ain't none here wrong. Hey, look at T.I., call it in the T.I. Bunch of bad bitches looking like a Leo. Trying to pull up, hop out, go in and show out. Find a home bar, pop out, go hard, hit club, so bad.
Okay. So hopefully you guys can hear that.
Pull up, hop out, go in and show out. Find a home bar, pop out. I'm so drunk, this club so packed, these hoes so drunk, this club so packed, these hoes so drunk. I got 'em, I got 'em, I got 'em, I got 'em.
Alright, so hopefully you guys can hear that. I had to do it a couple times, but overall, the Note 10.1 has the better speakers. Now, I know this sometimes doesn't translate to the mic, so hopefully you guys can hear it. Believe me, when you're live, you can definitely notice it. But in terms of the sound quality, it's not that the Surface Pro is bad at all. It's just that the Note 10.1 just has them on the front, and that definitely stands out a lot more, especially when holding the device or having the device in front of you. I have the Surface on its back right now, which just it does amplify it a bit more in comparison because of where the speakers are. However, when I put it facing me, it actually doesn't sound as good as when I have it on its back. Yes, I'm sure there's lots of jokes there. So yes, but that's the main thing of the difference is the Note 10.1 is just going to have a better sound quality, and it's also just clear and just it's nicer to hear. Hopefully that makes sense. So that will be on the music. Now let's go over the video quality. Now you can probably guess who will win this one simply because of the resolution difference, but let's go over it anyway just to make sure. Okay, and let's go.
Good, accounting's here. I know you're busy with the launch, but we gotta talk. The game is over budget. Creative guys, business guys, we need to communicate. No more redundancies.
Redundancies? From the woman with two phones?
I need one for work and one for home.
Sounds redundant.
You ever write a long email on one of these or take a picture on one of these?
No, done that. No.
So, until someone makes a phone that can do both really well. Am I sensing sarcasm here?
Do more with the Galaxy S3 and Note 2. Now with safe technology.
Okay, so for video quality, it's actually kind of close because the coloring is a lot better on the Samsung screen, as you can most likely guess. However, you have to give it just to the resolution for clarity. Clarity-wise, the Surface Pro is just going to be a lot sharper. It's a 1080p screen compared to a 720p screen, so you're really just going to have a better quality and better, I would say, video experience. And as where, you know, though this will sound better because of the front speakers, this one, if you put some headphones on, you solve the problem. Whereas this one, you know, we want a 1080p screen, and it'll most likely be on the next Note 10.1, 2, or whatever the next Samsung tablet will be. So that's gonna be it for movies. In terms of camera, I'm not even going to go into it. It's the Note. It just has a better camera as comparing to it. It has a 5 megapixel on the back and 2 megapixels on the front, whereas the Surface has a 1 and a 1, and it just takes lousy pictures. Surface will not be anything on photos, and it's just not really even a good experience for video chatting. So I definitely would go to the Surface. It wouldn't go to the Surface for any kind of comparison, so it will go to the Note 10.1 for that purpose. All right. Now, in terms of the gaming was kind of tricky. So for the Note, you have a lot of games. A lot of games you can play. Really good games. Really great experience. You will have a really great experience for the Note for gaming. For the Surface, you have a less games for apps by far. However, there's one, trick up its sleeves that it has for the Surface, and that is that you do have the ability to have Steam on here. So you can play full PC games. However, as you've seen, I've done 2 gaming reviews. One was on the app games, and one was on the regular full games that you get with this, that you can get with a full PC. And in terms of those games, the Surface didn't play them as well as I would like as a gamer, and it's not something that I would recommend for gamers. So for that reason, originally I was going to give it to the Surface for the fact that, well, although it has nowhere near the app games, you can play full PC games. However, because real gamers wouldn't use this for PC gaming, I then again have to give it back to the Note 10.1. It has better app games, and I feel that most people that buy a tablet are going to buy it for that purpose. Even if you buy the Surface Pro to replace your computer, this isn't really something I would recommend for gamers, just because you're not going to get the full experience that you would want from a gaming device. So there. In terms of battery life, just no contest. The Note 10.1 gets the average of about 10 hours battery life, give or take. Sometimes it's longer, sometimes it's shorter, depending if you have the power saving mode on. If you have the power saving mode, you can definitely reach around 11 to 12 hours at times. The Surface Pro gets about 3 hours. So pretty easy, cut and dry right there. Surface Pro is definitely not like the Windows RT model, which can get about 11 hours no problem. But in terms of this model, it's just nowhere near the same caliber for endurance. All right, and how about extras? Well, extras, so it's interesting. So the Note 10.1, of course, has a built-in stylus. So you do have a built-in stylus with the Note 10.1, which is a huge extra. It really adds to a great interface and gives you really that kind of mouse ability that you have with the device. However, not to be outshined, Microsoft did, of course, put in its own stylus. However, this stylus is not really used in terms of as many extra features such as the S Pen is. You really can't even navigate like through here with it. So just to give an example, on their main screen you can't navigate through it, which is really annoying, that you can't just swipe with it. So it doesn't act as a full navigation key. You can use it for writing text. This button can be used for a right click, but that's about it. It's just it's nowhere near the same level as the S Pen. However, on this one we have a built-in kickstand and a full USB port. Both have micro SD card. On this one, the other extra we only have is the IR blaster, so this can be used as a universal remote control for all your devices in your house. Overall, a full USB port is the more reliable one, or better extra, you would say, as well as the kickstand built in, so I will give it to the Surface Pro for the extras. In terms of price point, that is pretty much a no-brainer. You can literally get this tablet as well as like a really great PC for less than the Surface Pro price. So in terms of price point, no question, it's the Note 10.1 for being less than half of the price of the Surface Pro. So let's tally them up and see who won. The look and feel definitely goes to the Note 10.1, just going to be the better look and feel for the device. The Surface Pro will be better for web browsing. You have a full web browser here. You do not have a light or mobile web browser. You have a full web browsing experience with both Adobe Flash and Silverlight plugin. In terms of music, it will go to the Note 10.1, just the better overall speakers, especially when you have them in front of you. Front stereo speakers just can't be beat. In terms of movies, it will go to the Surface Pro 1080p screen. Just really can't beat that. It's really great for watching videos, as well as you can always just use headphones for the better sound quality. In terms of camera, it will go to the Note 10.1. No question, the Surface Pro is probably the worst camera on a tablet yet. In terms of gaming, it will go to the Note 10.1 just because if you are a gamer, you just will have a more enjoyable experience on the Note 10.1 versus the Surface Pro. Battery life definitely goes to the Note 10.1. Just can't beat the battery life, more than double the battery life of the Surface Pro. In terms of extras, it will go to the Surface Pro for the built-in kickstand and full-size USB adapter. In terms of price point, definitely the Note 10.1, less than half the price, and really a comparable device in a lot of ways. So, I've tallied them up. The Note 10.1 definitely beats out the Surface Pro by a lot, and I really tried to be unbiased here. It's just that the Surface Pro, in comparing to tablets, the Surface Pro isn't basically as good as a lot of devices out there. It's when comparing it to a top-of-line tablet, it still lacks a couple of things in comparison to it. However, you're also lacking in terms of comparison to like similar price products such as an Ultrabook, in terms of things like battery life and just a real premium product, which this tries to be, but it kind of fails in the end. So overall, I will give it to the Note 10.1 would be a better investment. I would rather get a Note 10.1 for my day-to-day usage and then have a laptop at home or a desktop at home that just does a better job compared to the Surface Pro. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. This has been RICKY, the Android Guy.